The Washington Wizards, for a very long time now, have almost done absolutely nothing, okay? Like, for the majority of my life, basically, they've been the Washington Midzards. See what I did there? Mid? Yeah, sorry. It wasn't funny. My bad. That's on me. But yeah, the Wizards just haven't been good. Basically my entire life. They haven't made the playoffs since the 2020 season, and even then they haven't made it out of the first round since like 2016. So it has been a very long time, and they have not been a good team basically since I've been born. I was born in 2003. I'm not sure they were ever actually like considered a good team. Now that I think about it, I really can't recall a time that the Wizards were a powerhouse team in the playoffs. Maybe I'm missing a year in my head, but to me, the Wizards have been nothing but mid. And that's been the case for a very long time. But things are starting to change a little bit, okay? I think the Wizards are actually starting to build a little bit of something. They're getting cornerstone guys. They, in my opinion, have put together one of the most interesting and fun young cores in the entire NBA. Their young core is crazy, and we're going to be getting into that a little bit later in this video, and I think there's a lot of positives going for the Wizards going forward, and I think they have a lot to build around, and I think they can legitimately make something out of this roster. They find out who's good, put some good vets around them, and you might be cooking with something over here, okay? For the Wizards, for the first time in the kitchen, it's not going to be a disaster. It's not going to blow up in their face. They might actually be cooking a Gordon Ramsay meal up over here, and that is something that you can't say for the Wizards often. So I think they're finally on the right track, and I want to give them credit, and that's why I'm making this video. And I want to really break down how good this young core is. I want to break down the players in it, and then I want to break down what I think they can do in the future to continue to go on the correct path that they are currently on. So if that's not interesting to you, please watch the videos all the way through. Hit the like button, subscribe button, mean the world to me. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. Alright, so getting into the young core, I think we have to start with Alex Sarr. Alex Sarr, in my opinion, is currently the best player on this team. I think he's going to be a future star. His two-way potential is just unbelievable. Defensively, he's already there. He's a beast on defense. He's only going to get stronger, more athletic, and better as he gets older and more experienced, and he gets smarter. And then offensively, it's going to come. We've seen the offensive talent flashes. He just has to get a little more consistent, and I think that's going to come with time, especially as his teammates get better around him. It's going to take a lot of pressure off of him. So as he learns the NBA, as he gets more comfortable, as he gets better, and then his team gets better around him, he should just benefit greatly from all that. So it should be nothing but up from here for Alex Sarr, and I do think he's a star. Anyone that sold their stock in Alex Sarr, I think is crazy. I think the kid's going to be a beast. I think he is special. I think he's going to be one of the best players out of his draft class, if not the best player out of his draft class. And like I said, defensively, he's already making gigantic impacts. And if that offensive game just becomes remotely consistent this year, this kid is going to become a problem very, very fast. And then the second guy I want to get to is going to be Bilal Coulibaly. Now, Bilal is another guy, although he's probably not going to be a superstar in the league, he has a chance to be an extremely high-level role player. Like, the kid's defense, once again, already elite, and I love that they're building kind of on the defensive side of the ball. Alex Sarr is a great defender. Bilal Coulibaly is a great defender, and they have a few other very solid defenders on this roster as well that we're going to be getting into. I just think Bilal fits what they want to play with, and on top of that, offensively, from year 1 to year 2, he's already improved a lot. And I can see that continuing into year 3. So if that consistency can get better, his three-point shot can keep improving, and his all-around offensive game can keep improving. He has athleticism. He has the defense to become an extremely high-level role player. And I think that's exactly the road Bilal's on. And I think him and Alex Sarr are going to be part of this team for a very long time. And then just to add one more guy to that two-way room of young guys, we have Keyshawn George. Now, Keyshawn George is an extremely solid two-way player. And just his rookie season, he showed tons of flashes. The kid can shoot the lights out from three. He's a good defender. He has great size for his position. He can handle the ball. And I think he kind of reminds me of a Jalen Williams for the Thunder type player. And I think he can, although maybe not be as good as him, I think he can fit that same role and become, once again, a very high-level role player for this team, if not a super high-level, borderline all-star level player for this team. So I think Keyshawn George is a great player, and once again, I think he fits right in with the other two I mentioned. He's a very good defender, and his offensive game is also very strong. And like I said, great size, pretty solid athlete, and I think once he adds a little bit more wrinkles to his offensive game, he is going to be an extremely valuable piece for this team, and I think he's only going to get better from here. And like I said, as his team gets better, it's going to make it that much easier on him. And I think this team, out of these three alone, are extremely good. And there's some huge names I haven't even mentioned yet. And now that's going to bring us to their rookie this year, Trey Johnson, who I loved. I think he was the best player available when they picked him. I love Trey Johnson. I think he's a legit star. I think he's going to be the star duo with Sarr Sarr going forward. Now, like, I love Bilal, I love Keyshawn, but I think Sarr and Trey Johnson are going to be your two best players this year and probably for the foreseeable future, and that's not a dig at anyone. Trey Johnson is a great athlete. He can shoot the hell out of the ball. He can score from all three levels. His defense is not elite yet, but he could become elite because he has the athleticism, he has the speed, he has a skill set. He just has to buy in, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does that playing with these other great defenders. It's just going to come naturally. So I think Trey Johnson is going to be a great player for them. I think he could easily win Rookie of the Year this year. Now, look, it's going to be tough with guys like Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey and other guys ahead of him, but I think Trey Johnson is a stud, and I love that the Wizards were able to get him. And I think they finally found a legit starting point guard for this team for the long-term future. And then the next player I want to highlight is going to be Dillon Jones. Now, I think Dillon Jones is a very underrated get for them. They got him for almost nothing. I think a second-round pick they gave up to get him. They got him for peanuts, okay? And Dillon Jones is a first-round talent who I love. Now, look, he didn't get much of an opportunity with OKC, and I mean, for obvious reasons. OKC has an unbelievably talented roster. All their young guys are playing were already had much more years experience, and he never had a chance to really play, especially not year one. But with the Wizards, I think he's going to get a lot more opportunity, and I think he's going to really bit to show what he can do. The kid can score at all three levels. He has very solid athleticism. He's very strong. He can play both ways. He can just do everything you want him to do. He's not going to be great at really one of anything, but he can do everything, and you need those type of players on a team, especially one that's going to lack the superstar talent that the Wizards aren't going to have this year. But I do think someone like Dillon Jones could provide a swift army knife guy who you can put in a variety of lineups and situations, and is going to help you immensely. And I think they're going to love that they got him for only a second-round pick, and I think Dillon Jones is going to be a big piece for them moving forward. I absolutely love him, and I'm so hyped that they were able to get him, and that is just one of the many great moves that I think the Wizards made this offseason. And then another rookie from this year is going to be Jamir Watkins. Jamir Watkins is another very, very solid two-way guy. Like, I love the Wizards draft. I think they had one of the best drafts this year. He can score at all three levels. He can probably going to be a scorer off their bench for them. He's a good defender already, good athlete, and he just plays with a chip on his shoulder. And they like guys who can defend, have two-way potential, and I'm probably sounding like a complete and broken record at this point, but I mean, that's exactly what their philosophy has been the past few drafts. Get guys that can impact on both sides of the ball. And that's exactly what Jamir Watkins is going to be able to do. And although I don't think the kid's going to be a star or anything, I wouldn't even be surprised if he develops into a starting level player for this team one day. Jamir Watkins, I think, was a great pick for them, and I think they got two very good players in this draft. And speaking of this draft, to continue how good it was, they also got Will Riley in this draft. Will Riley was a rookie that I loved coming in. He has great size, great talent, and I mean, if him and Alex Sarr play on the same court at the same time, it's going to be crazy, because Will Riley can spread the floor, he can score, his length gives him good enough to be able to switch 1 through 4 basically, and I think him and Alex Sarr could be a very fun small ball lineup. Alex Sarr is 7 foot tall, so you wouldn't be that small, but how they play isn't like traditional big man. That's why I would call it a small ball lineup, and I think both of them would fit very well together on the court at the same time. It would be very hard to deal with them both offensively, and teams would struggle to guard that. Now, if you needed a little bit more strength, you could go with somebody else, but I think in spurts, a front court of Sarr and Riley would be very, very difficult to deal with, and I think that's exactly what they're probably looking forward to looking in the future, and I think Will Riley is going to fit with this team very well, and going forward in the future, I think he could be a great two-way player for them, and I think it was another great pick, and I think they went 3 for 3 in this class. I mean, even in the second round when they picked Watkins, I love it. I love Drew Wiley and Trey Johnson as their first-round picks, and I think, I mean, you can't get a much better class than what they were able to put together, and I mean, this is back-to-back classes that they've stacked now that are very, very solid, and I really enjoy what they have going on with the Wizards. And then they also have Bub Carrington. Look, Bub Carrington, I'm not the highest on him, and I think he has a lot of flaws in his game. He doesn't fit the two-way mold the Wizards look like they're trying to go to. But I think Bub off your bench, or maybe even starting in the beginning of the season, as another scoring, offensively minded guard would be very solid. I think he could be their sixth man this year. He can score for his own, and a bench always needs a guy who can go on the offensive side and get a bucket. And I think that's exactly what Bub can provide, and I think he will be able to work on his deficiencies as well if you let him develop off the bench a little bit. So I do think that Bub is going to be a contributor this year, but I do question how good his ceiling is and how farther he's going to go. But I think for this year, Bub would be a fine player to come off their bench. And then even Tristan Vucevic, a guy that a lot of people don't talk about, a very underrated big man offensively. He's a great second-string center. Now, yes, defensively, he has his flaws for sure, but offensively, the kid can score flat out. He can give you 20 any night. Like, that kid's offensively talented. He's killing it in Eurobasket right now as well. Vucevic is just an all-around very solid guy, and if he can find out his shit athletically and defensively, he's going to be a very good player for them. Like, he's going to be a great backup big man for them for a long time if he can figure out the defense side of the ball. He doesn't even have to become a lockdown defender. He just has to become a serviceable one because his offense is good enough to outweigh it. So if he can just figure that out side of the ball, the kid's going to be a very good pick, and that would be another great draft pick they made that went very much under the radar. And then another amazing move this offseason that they made was when they traded for Cam Whitmore. Look, Cam Whitmore is a beast. The kid can flat out score, and he's athletically unbelievable as well. I think he's going to blossom with this Wizards team. He never really had a chance with Houston or a real opportunity, but I think with the Wizards, the kid's going to have free reign, and he's going to be a beast. I think he's their day one starting power forward, in my opinion. The kid's a stud. He's going to be, I think, probably averaging around 20 points a game this year, and he's another case defensively. If he can figure it out, he is going to be a problem, and he has every tool to become a great defender. He has athleticism, the strength, all of that. He just has to buy in. And if someone can get in his head and tell him, like, lock in, and hopefully the guys like Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, and the other great defenders on this roster, and even the veterans like CJ and Chris Middleton can get in his head and be like, look, dude, you have to lock in, you have to play hard. And hopefully they can do that. And if they can get Whitmore to be a okay defender, he may be a star, because the kid is unbelievable on the offensive side of the ball, and he is a matchup nightmare due to his athleticism and his offensive skill set. And then finally, for the last player in this young core that I want to mention, is going to be A.J. Johnson. Now, the reason I have A.J. Johnson last, and I didn't have them in any order, by the way, but like the reason I'm mentioning A.J. Johnson last is because, in my opinion, A.J. Johnson is the most wild card unknown. Like, the kid's potential through the roof. I liked him coming in as a second-round pick last year, and I thought that the Bucks got a very high upside guy, but he was never going to develop with them. So I do like that he made it to a team where he has a chance to legitimately develop, but I don't think the expectations for him to play this year, or at least have a huge role, is that fair, because his three-point shot still not there, his efficiency still not there, and athletically, skill-wise, very good, very solid, but he just has to get to the point to where he can be a consistent shooter as well as just a consistent all-around player, and he's just not that yet. So I think he's going to get a lot of G League minutes, and I think he might even get a lot of bench minutes, but the expectations of him being anything but a developmental guy this year, in my opinion, is not fair to him. Because, I mean, he came in super raw. It was going to take a few years for him to develop into anything crazy. So I think it's unfair to think year two and a brand new team, basically, for him, that he's going to all of a sudden become some superstar stud. I don't think that's fair. But I do want to see some improvements for him, and hopefully he can continue to develop to the player that he could possibly be farther down the road. And now that I got rid of their young core, if you want to call it that, you can basically call it their team, because there's so many players to this young core. But even outside of this young core, the Wizards have ways to improve, not just from the self-development of their young guys, not from the building of chemistry or anything like that, although they will improve in those ways. They have other aspects of the team to improve on. So in the beginning of the year, they're probably going to have guys like CJ and Chris Middleton playing, and probably trying to mentor and develop and lead the young guys. As a Pelicans fan, CJ is an unbelievable veteran. If he's on the team when day one comes or by training camp comes, he is going to improve these players. He's going to lead them. He's going to be a great leader for them. And I just think their players are going to learn a lot from CJ McCollum, especially guys like Trey Johnson. And then Chris Middleton has won an NBA Finals, and I'm sure he's going to be leading them as well. And they have two great veterans on this team who are not only going to make them a better team in the beginning, but they're also going to probably make their young guys better in the long term due to their leadership. But then at the trade deadline, they also are going to be able to trade both of these guys. Because, like, if you're a contending level team and you can get your hands on a CJ McCollum or a Chris Middleton, you do that, because CJ McCollum is still a very good scorer offensively. The kid's a beast. Like I said, great leader, has a head on his shoulders, and he would make your team better if you were a contending level team and got him to come off your bench, or even as a starting shooting guard. And Chris Middleton, exact same way, has championship experience, would be a great player off your bench, a great rotational guy, and if you can get him for a few picks, you do that if it means winning a championship or not, or making your chances of winning a championship that much better. So I think they're going to be able to flip both these guys for probably first rounders, or even young guys going forward, which is going to help their future even more. So I think after these trades are done, their future is going to be even brighter. And I think from the development of their young guys, this team's ceiling right now is through the roof. And I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited about this Washington's Wizards team. I think they're building something special here. And I can't wait to watch them, which is not something you could usually say for the Wizards, but I think they're going to be one of the more fun teams to watch develop and as time goes on. And I think Wizards fans finally have something that they can legitimately be excited for going forward. But unfortunately, guys, that's my first video. So comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think the Wizards are building something special? How good do you think they can be? Your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like, point like button, subscribe button, mean that's support to me. And I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.